Modernia, a character that is getting a rerun in a month. Not only is she getting a rerun in a month, this character had, she was actually the queen of Nikke for quite some time. So today we are going to actually go over this character. I want to introduce this thing on the channel where I'm kind of like doing showcases on characters. I don't know if you guys seen, but I made a community post basically saying like, I feel like, with the Nikke content creation space, because there's not really that many YouTubers, you guys aren't really seeing showcases of characters unless it's like the brand new characters. And I kind of want to bring that back to Nikke in the sense of like, for example, the Truth DT, right? He always does showcases of, characters that are still somewhat relevant, not as used, but still relevant, and then just kind of breaks them down and showcases them with multiple different teams and stuff like that. So if you guys want more of these videos, just let me know down below in the comment what characters you guys want me to do this for next. And yeah, I'm gonna do it for literally any characters, collab characters, limited characters, pilgrims, whatever. But yeah, today we're taking a look at Miss Modernia here, right? Obviously, like I said, this character is about to hit her 2nd year anniversary on New Year's because she came out 2023. This was the first ever summonable pilgrim to ever come out. And realistically, when Modernia did come out, she was like controversial in terms of being the best character. It was always her versus Scarlet, but I think as time went by, Scarlet was like slowly fading. Not anything drastic, but like compared to Modernia was kind of growing and growing and growing in terms of like being a more like usable overall universal character, where Scarlet was kind of coming down. So let's break down this character. Now, overload gear, it's very simple. I feel like overload gear for literally every single character is like going to be somewhat different, but for the DPSs, especially now where we are in today's meta, it is going to be quite similar for a lot of the DPSs, right? A bit different, but very similar, right? So I would say for Modernia, this gear that I have, I've had this gear for the last almost 2 years. Literally, this is kind of what you want to go for all her pieces: elemental damage, attack percent, and then the last one could be ammo capacity, or if you don't want ammo capacity, let me see if I can also find where would I see that here. If you don't want elemental, no, you definitely want elemental damage, you definitely want attack percent. If you don't want ammo capacity, the only other thing here that could be somewhat useful is crit damage, just because machine gun characters do crit a lot. So crit damage would also be very good, but I would say your mandatory like go-to roles will 100% be elemental damage, ammo capacity, and attack percent. And you kind of want that on all 4 pieces, right? Now, the cool thing about Modernia is that she is considered one of the best flex burst 3 characters, right? What flex burst 3 character means is that you don't need to use their burst skill at all, right? Obviously, Modernia's burst skill is phenomenal, but you don't need to use her burst skill whatsoever because this character's damage comes from her normal attacks, right? So if we take a look at her first skill, it says activates when a normal attack hits, affects the target. She just deals 3% of final attack as additional damage. So that 3% is going to go align with the 7% of normal attack damage, essentially, right? So you just get a 3% additional damage of final attack, which means any buffs that this character has, right? That's what final attack means. Any buff that this character has from, allies or overload gear or whatever, all that gets implemented into that 3.05% of final attack as additional damage. All that's going to be applied to whoever she's targeting, right? And then obviously when she hits 200 times, when her normal attack hits 200 times, she will give herself a critical damage buff that stacks up to 5 times of 14%. So because she does give herself a crit damage buff, that extra one on the overload gear could also be crit rate. I just don't really recommend it. I think she's gonna crit regardless, being a machine gun character. So crit damage is always just gonna be better in my opinion for that. But she also does lose ammo capacity every time she attacks 200 times, right? And that stacks up to 5 times as well. And she's losing about 5% of that, right? So a maximum of like 25%, and then this right here would be like a maximum of I can't do the quick math. 14 times 25 times 5. I can't do that quick math. I don't have that brain. But yeah, she's giving herself these buffs here, right? All allies do get a hit rate buff for 15 seconds when you enter a full burst, which is great. And then she does actually give herself an attack buff of 29% if she's in the hit rate status. So essentially, if you're in a full burst and she attacks 200 times, then she'll give herself an attack buff of 29%. So there's that. And then this is where her burst skill becomes very, very cool, especially for like stuff like projectiles, stuff like mobs, just stuff for like a lot of stuff going on in the screen. Not only does she increase the full burst time by an extra 5 seconds, which in a lot of cases that could be bad. Like, let's be honest, it could be bad in a lot of cases. It's not bad realistically, but like maybe you don't want that extra 5 seconds. Like, there has been times where I'm playing Modernia and I don't want those extra 5 seconds, right? But essentially she makes the full burst last 5 extra seconds, and then she kind of gets this destroy mode where she has this radius on the screen, and literally anything that's in this radius will get attacked, regardless if your cursor is on them or not. If any enemy, any boss, any parts, whatever is in that radius will get destroyed. That's just how that works, and that's why she was so cool. The only thing is, because she does kind of change her weapon into the destroy mode, like the destroy mode kind of changes her weapon, she goes from this 7.7% to dealing 2.24%. So you would need to hit a minimum of 4 different enemies to be hitting harder than if she was to not use her burst skill, if that makes sense. Because if she's using her single target, she's dealing 7.71% with the additional 3%. If she's attacking one enemy, if she's in her burst skill, she's attacking one enemy, that goes from 7% to 2%, right, with the additional 3% still. So you want to make sure you're attacking minimum 4 enemies to kind of get your damage worth out of that burst skill, if that makes sense. And then obviously for the cube, the best cube for her is going to be Resilience Cube or the Bastion Cube. This cube right here is really good for a lot of characters. After a certain amount of bullets, you get bullets back. It kind of just prevents them from having to reload for a long time. And I feel like in today's meta, where we have characters that kind of handle reload speed, you don't really necessarily need characters like you don't need Resilience Cube as much. It's still definitely the best cube, but you don't need it as much, right? We're going to showcase her today with the Bastion Cube, just because we do have a lot of ammo capacity, right? Ammo capacity means that we have a lot of bullets. So let's get into it. Let's get to showcase. I'm going to try with different teams and just show you guys how this character operates and stuff like that. And maybe if you guys want to use Modernia, you guys can get some type of team out of this video. So let's enjoy. All right, so this is the team we have going on right here, where we're running the monstrous trio with our 2 fire DPSs. I feel like this is a team that Modernia will be ran on a lot. I am also going to have another team where she is kind of like the Flex Burst 3, so it's going to be a completely different team. But I do want to show a lot of these characters with the monstrous trio. That is like the go-to team, right? The monstrous trio team is really just another level of like broken, in my opinion. But you guys are gonna see Modernia. Does she hit hard? Yeah. For a character that came out in 2025, obviously with the buffs we have now in 2020, or not 2025, for a character that came out in 2023, for the characters that we have now in 2025, like Modernia is a character that benefits a lot from them, right? So if you take a look, Modernia is currently at 6.5 million without her burst skill. You're going to know that she is going to end up actually just hitting very hard, right? And if you guys look at machine gun, this is what I mean when I say they crit a lot. So the crit damage is going to benefit this character a lot. They crit a lot, right? But she went from 6.5 to 91 million without her burst skill. Now the only thing is, when you use her burst skill, this is a gotcha costume skin, by the way. When you use her burst skill, if she's not attacking 4 enemies, this is where it becomes a problem. So she's at 1.5 million. Now you guys see any enemy that's in this circle right here is just getting hit, regardless if she's attacking them or not. Anybody who crosses that gets their damage taken, right? So if we go here, that's 3 enemies. Boom, all these enemies kind of get deleted. And that's why Modernia was so good back in the days where like we had all these projectiles and stuff like that, because anything and anybody that was in the way, Modernia kind of deleted them. That's why Modernia was really, really good back in the days. But yeah, I would say she is better as a Flex Burst 3 character if at the end of the day she is going to be doing this. Like right now, we're using her burst skill. She's doing a lot less damage now. So okay, she's at 90, let's just say 78. Let's say she's at 78,000 right now, using her burst skill, right? I can just show you guys this right now, right? The first few seconds, right, when she had those buffs, she was at 79. Now she's at 189. So you guys see the difference when you use her burst skill and you don't? She loses a lot of damage using her burst skill if she's attacking one enemy. She's went from 79 million in her, look at her burst skill. Now she's at 78 million, or 78,000, 73,000, 78,000 when you use her burst skill. And then you don't even have to use her full burst. Don't even enter a burst skill yet. No, let's not even enter the full burst. Look, off of this, when we come off this, she's doing more numbers. she's at 100k without any buffs from burst skills right now. So this is the things that I want people to realize when it comes to Modernia. These are the things I want people to understand when it comes to these characters, right? You don't necessarily want to use her as a burst 3 character because you're just wasting your time using her as that. Now Modernia, is her damage good? Like, I would say for a 2023 character, it's still very good in 2025, 100%. It really is, but I think I would have gotten a lot more damage done if we had not used her burst skill whatsoever. And I'm going to show you guys that in the next team we use, where she's just not getting like these things. Because when you don't use her burst skill, she's averaging 200k per tick, right? You guys seen that? 200k, 189k, 179k, 129k, no burst. Like, that's how much she's averaging per tick. When you use her burst skill, she's just doing all this stuff, and it just gets crazy. But hey, Modernia is definitely one of those insane characters. I think Modernia is really just going to be good for a long time. She's just not really used that much because of all the new DPSs we have, but she is really good. Now, she is getting a rerun. Would I recommend to rerun or like summon for her rerun when that happens? I don't know yet, because I feel like if you are in a position like me where you have all the DPSs in a game, then you're just never going to use Modernia like that. I do find Modernia to be very helpful for people who do not know how to beat Mother Will. I really do. But Mother Will's getting nerfed now, so there's that. But 1.2 billion for a 2023 character, that is technically handicapped by using her burst skill, right? But yeah, I mean, let's go and try another team where she's not a burst 3 unit. All right, so with this team here, we are focusing on Miss Modernia just being a full-blown flex burst 3 character. This is a viable team that people do use, obviously, with Grave. A lot of people don't actually like using Grave unless like you have Pierce characters on your team, because like you're losing a big part of her kit, which is the buff she gives towards Pierce characters. But at least she makes use out of it herself. If we take a look at Modernia here, you guys are gonna notice Modernia is going to pop off when she fully stacks. Remember, when you're in a full burst and she attacks 200 times, she does give herself a 29% attack buff, which, to be fair, like, she should have that by now, right? Machine gun characters hit very hard. If we take a look at her kit, yeah, it's right there giantly. Like, those are, machine gun characters hit very hard. Obviously the damage is overall going to be less with this team than against the Monstrous Shield team. Monstrous Shield team has just way too much supports compared to like a team like this. Okay, Mihara, you do what you got to do, gang. But yeah, Modernia, like, my only thing is, as much as I do love Modernia as a flex burst 3 character, as much as I do think this is how you should be using her. Oh, what? Oh, if for what? Oh, the maintenance starts today? I mean, I knew it started today, but like now? Oh, right. It's the update's happening at 6 p.m. Oh my God. Yeah, Jill and them are coming out today. So are they closing the game in 30 minutes? Because it's a 7-hour maintenance. Are they closing the game in 7? Oh, anyways, let's go back to Modernia. Damn, I'm sorry. I'll be here. I'm not going to be live or anything like that, because that's going to be 6 p.m. But I will have videos and stuff like that for Jill. And I will have a lot of these types of videos for all the new characters that come out in the future as well. But like I was saying, I don't really like using Modernia as a flex burst 3 in today's age, just because, like, yes, it is free damage. That's how I will always see it. Like, it's free damage, right? My only thing is, when it comes to her as a flex burst 3, I feel like I would rather have a support who's just helping out everybody else more than Modernia who's just doing her extra damage, right? Like, I feel like if we had Helm there, everybody else has a lot more damage, right? Not to mention Helm could do damage herself, right? So like, that's where I am now in 2025 when it comes to Modernia. It's really hard for me to like say, oh yeah, I want Modernia on this team, right? Because this game is a meta over waifu game, right? It's not a game where you're like, you can use your favorite character all the time, right? Because there are situations where you just can't, right? There are a lot of challenges where I just physically cannot use Modernia, right? And that's just the reality of the situation. So I want you guys to realize that. But we are gonna go and try an actual fight after this, not like one of these fights, but more of the, like, an Omni Interception or something like that. And I probably might use Modernia as like a flex burst 3 or on-field burst 3. I don't know. I feel like extra damage is good, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. I feel like if there was a lot of projectiles, a lot of mobs, Modernia is like one of my go-to picks for sure. But then at the same time, we have a lot of characters in today's, like, again, in today's meta, we have a lot of characters that kind of just like say mobs deleted, right? Mob gone. That's what a lot of these DPSs today say. So I feel like when it comes to Miss Modernia, it's very hard. It really is just difficult for me to say, yeah, go Modernia, go Modernia, go Modernia, go Modernia, go Modernia, go Modernia, go. You know what I'm saying? I need to find out what time this is. JST. All right, so it's 11 o'clock. So in an hour and 30 minutes, the update's gonna happen. But if we take a look at this team right here, like Modernia ended up doing 1 billion damage without using her burst skill. You get what I mean? And I don't have like Crown on this team who would give us well, technically Crown does give a good like attack damage buff, but her attack buff would never go to Modernia because Modernia is never using her burst skill, right? But like 1 billion damage for someone who didn't use their burst skill is very, very good. Like she's half of Red Hood or Rappy's damage and almost half of, or actually like more than half of Mihara's damage as a burst 1 2023 character who doesn't even have elemental damage everywhere like these other two characters. Like Modernia, you build Modernia could go crazy, right? Let's not, like, Modernia is a strong character. She's not gonna die for a long time. She just, I wouldn't say she's in the top 20 though. Would I say Modernia is in the top 20? That's the question of the day. Let me know down below if you guys would say Modernia is a top 20 character. I don't think so, but do you guys think Modernia is a top 20 character? Let me know down below. But let's go to our last team. Now for the final team, we're using this team. It's kind of like the Monstrous Trio team, but we're using Rappy as a burst 1 and we're making use of Asuka, who Asuka actually does help out fire code allies when entering a full burst. Like damage dealt when attacking cores increased by 51%, and that's really good for Modernia because she is always going to be attacking core because she's a machine gun character, right? Let's go ahead and try this against Indivilia. I do have Helm on my team as well for some heals. I wanted to use Helm as like, I feel like if you really want good heals, like dependent heals, Modernia, or not Modernia's, Helm's burst skill is kind of that go-to. But we're gonna see at the end of the day. Here's Asuka. Once she gets healed, she goes crazy as well. And I do have a showcase for her as well, or want to get a showcase for her. But when we use Modernia's burst skill, you're gonna see like these mobs and minions that come down the screen and stuff like that. Like she really is gonna handle all of that. And you guys see those core hits are going to land, and when we use their burst skill, core hits are there for sure. So anytime we enter a full burst, boom. The only problem is realistically is like, I don't want to say it's necessarily a problem, but like I don't know, I don't really like the 5-second thing. Like I'm not the biggest fan of like the 5-second extra 5 seconds for a full burst, and there's like literally nothing you can do about it, you know what I mean? And I think for me that's like not necessarily an issue, but like more of just like I wish I can control that, but I can't. Like the extra, if I could use Modernia as like a regular character with no extra 5 seconds, boom. But you guys take a look at her damage. She's hitting like Rappy's hitting the hardest somehow, but Modernia is like still kind of hitting very hard, considering the fact that her numbers right now is nerfed, right? Like you use her burst skill is nerfed 100%. And honestly, I could have used Helm just for that healing, and then Modernia that flex burst 3 for additional damage with Rappy and then Asuka, and then you kind of have like your full team going on. But like this is what I wanted to run and stuff like that, and I don't know, I feel like it's okay. But you see, boom, 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 all mobs kind of, well, mobs already deleted and stuff like that, but you're just doing a lot of damage with Modernia. You really are. I am gonna have to use my burst skill from Helm sooner rather than later. I mean, honestly, it's not anything too crazy. Like Modernia is healing and stuff like that, or she's getting healed at least. So I'm not too worried about Modernia dying on me or anything like that. We have a minute left and we're on stage 5 right now with this composition. I don't expect much. Like my Asuka isn't really built like that yet. I am building her now. She's still not actually built like that though, so I don't expect much from her. But I feel like if we had somebody else there, we could have done better in terms of getting to stage 7 and stuff like that. Could you run this team 100%? Like if you have this team built, if you give them elemental damage and stuff like that. Oh, I didn't think we we're going into her second phase that quick. It's fine. It's fine. Realistically, we're gonna have to use things damage here. this is where Modernia becomes very useful because she has a lot of bullets, right? With her ammo capacity. So that's why I never find it to be a problem for real. Just because, like, you know, she can't do all that. But we're gonna have to heal here. I'm gonna have to heal here. I'm sorry. Helm's heal is just so broken. Like, look, everybody just fully heals when you use her burst skill. Boom, fully healed, everybody. And it's just, I love it, right? We're gonna probably get stage 6 maximum, minimum, or maximum, but I don't know if we're gonna actually get there. Like, we have another 18 seconds. We're using Asuka's burst. Asuka does go crazy with her burst, so I'm not too worried. We'll see. She's healing and stuff like that. 7 seconds. There's missiles, and it's where Modernia will go crazy. Nah, we're not gonna get there. It's okay though. But like, if you take a look and see this team, Modernia definitely does perform a lot, right? 640 million, 723 million from Red Hood, Red Hood, who's a burst 1, so that's kind of saying a lot. But then again, she's the 2025 Pilgrim, you know what I'm saying? And then Asuka, 644, she kind of got her last burst skill off, so kind of pushed her over Modernia a bit. But you guys see, Modernia's always going to be doing numbers. Like, the damage that Modernia is supposed to be doing, she's always going to be doing that. So that's my opinion on that. So when it comes to Modernia, what do you guys think? Do you guys think Modernia is a character that's still relevant in 2025? Do you guys think this character is falling off to the point where she's like has no recovery? Or do you guys think she needs the Scarlet and Isabel treatment where they drop a new character that buffs her up galore? What do you guys think? Let me know down below, and let me know if you guys enjoy these types of videos, and if you guys want more of these dedicated showcase videos, multiple team videos, deep explanation videos for the character, let me know and I will do it for whatever character has the most likes in the comments down below. But for now, it's your boy Zxous. Again, question of the day: is Modernia a top 20 character? And also, I guess subscribe and like. It's your boy Zxous. I'm out. Peace.